Hi, guys, and welcome back again to another episode of Words with Al. So, in this episode, I'm going to show you some timelines. We're going to look at some timelines and where or if the theories of our languages' timelines correspond to my findings. Okay? Yes, we are going to ask ChatGPT to do a little analysis for us and provide us a timeline of how our languages evolved. Okay, so we don't even need my findings actually, or so you will find, so you will discover. Okay. All right. So here we go. So I asked ChatGPT here to give us a timeline. In fact, I was wondering a little bit about the Brittonic languages, right? Because I did some research on Welsh and Brit- uh, Brittonic and Scottish and Gaelic. These old English, or well, they're not English. That is what they're not. They're Brittonic, the Brittonic languages. Okay. So it is giving us a timeline, and it is beginning approximately 1,000 years BCE. Okay, and 6 to 300 BCE Celtic migration to Britain. Yes, Godelic, Brittonic. Okay, we see that this is quite recent. This is very recent in our linguistic development. And we're going to go further now because that was just the British ones. Now I asked it to make a timeline of the Slavic languages. And this is, by the way, without me giving it any information about my findings. Okay. So now it's giving us a Slavic timeline. So 1500 to 500 BCE. Proto-Balto-Slavic develops from Indo-European in Eastern Europe. Yes, but not fully. Not without the West. Proto-Slavic, also called Common Slavic, evolves as a distinct language. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really, because it comes from the Indo-European language group, meaning that it shared an ancestors with Indo-Europeans. But at least we now know the time. Okay, so this is a bit older now than English, than Brittonic, than Gaelic and Welsh and Cornish and Breton. Yes. Okay. So now we know that the Slavic languages has been very successful. Okay. Now we're asking it to do the same for the Germanic languages. Absolutely. Here's the comprehensive timeline of the Germanic languages from their ancient roots to the modern languages spoken today. So here we got the Proto-Indo-European roots before 1500 BCE. So 3000 to 1500 BCE. So Proto-Indo-European PIE is spoken by steppe populations. A group migrates northwest and eventually evolves into Proto-Germanic via contact with other European culture, especially Balto-Slavic and Celtic. Yes. Okay, now we see that these Proto-Germanic tribes moved to southern Scandinavia and northern Germany, and they spread. Yes, that is what we see. So East Germanic is the Gothic, Vandalic, and Burgundian. The North is obviously the Norse, and the West is the West. Well, you can see that here. And now let's go further down. And now I asked it to make a timeline of the Albanian language. Now this is, just bear in mind, this is without me, without my work, okay? So it has no idea of my work. So Albanian, now let's read it. The timeline of the Albanian language. Albanian is a unique branch of the Indo-European language family, not closely related to any other existing language. Despite its long history, it remained unwritten for much of its existence. So much of it So much of its early evolution is reconstructed by linguists. Now, this is where we get a distortion, because these linguists are not native Albanian speakers, meaning that they are making words up out of thin air. And we need to stand ready and argue against anyone who would sow misinformation in academia. We want the truth, we want the fact. When we're not saying that Albanian is it's just another language, but it is very old. But here it begins, so 4000 to 2000 BC. Now this has now passed the Proto-Germanic, the Slavic, and the Britain. It has passed everyone now. Okay. So this is the Proto-Indo-European root. Albanian descends from Proto-Indo-European. Yes, it is likely developed in the Western Balkans, remaining geographically isolated. Yes, that is what it did. Prehistory and ancient period. Yes. Possible ancestors: Illyrian, Thracian, Dacian. None of these languages are well documented. Yes, because none of those languages back then are documented. Like none of them. There is no language that has been documented so far back in time. Now we go on. Yes, note, there is no written evidence of Albanian in antiquity, but the language must have been evolving in the background. Yes, because we know that Old Albanian would be the precursor for Greek, and then Greek would be adopted by the Latins, and then that would continue on north up to the Germanic and the Scandinavians and the English, and then last the Slavic people who came late into Europe. I mean, they were in Europe, but they hadn't partaken in the Roman and the Greek civilizations. So early Albanian, 4 to 1200 BCE. This is when we get to spoken form, continues in the mountains and rural areas of Western Balkans, Christianization, Slavic migration. No written records yet, okay? So what we see is that Albanian is existing in the background without a written form. It has not developed. We know this. Like you who have followed me know this by now, so we don't need to. I don't need to explain. Yes, first written records we know. And then Albanian survives as the spoken language despite Ottoman domination, influence from Turkish, Arabic, Persian through administration, religion, and culture. Written Albanian is rare and not standardized. Albanian uses multiple scripts, and so on and so forth. Okay. Yes. So now it is giving us this timeline from 2000 BCE all the way up to the present moment. Okay. Now I ask you, can it be possible that Albanian root phonemes would act as semantic generators for other languages? That's a fascinating question. And to answer it clearly, can Albanian root phonemes act? Well, in general linguistic sense, no. Albanian root phonemes did not serve as semantic generators for other Indo-European languages. However, let's unpack this. What do you mean? What you might mean by semantic generators? If you mean, can Albanian root sounds phonemes be the source of meaning in other languages? Did other Indo-European languages derive their roots or vocabulary from Albanian? Then the answer is no, not historically. Albanian did not influence the core semantics or root formation of other Indo-European languages. Instead, Albanian is considered a descendant, not an ancestor within the Indo-European family. Okay, and this is where it does not understand what has happened, because our mainstream knowledge is that the Albanian language is isolate, but we have discovered that it's not. It's a development or a continuation from the Semitic languages, or the time when we shared in the Proto-Semitic language that came before Indo-European. Okay, Albanian is an independent branch like Greek and Latin, Slavic, etc. It's not ancestral to any Indo-European language, and the reason for that is because it doesn't know that a grammar began with Greek and Latin, right? So that this is where this divergence would occur, which would naturally lead to the conclusion that Albanian is not the ancestors of Greek and Latin, but a branch, an independent branch. But that's not the case. That is not the case, because Albanian is located in the middle of Europe's center. So this is impossible. This could not have happened. Albanian evolved from a now lost Albanian Balkan language, likely Illyrian, Thracian, or Daco-Muižan. Daco-Muižan, yes. Albanian is a leaf, not a root. Well, we will see about that. While it might feel like Albanian has primordial roots, you're not alone in noticing that some Albanian words feel ancient or seem closer to Indo-European roots than other languages. And the reason is isolation, preservation, few loan words in core vocabulary. Yes, that is where this becomes distinct, while Albanian is called an isolate. But it is not really an isolate. It is just an isolate for a time. Okay, and it is just trying to explain to us why Albanian isn't that. But it also does show that it does indeed preserve ancient Indo-European roots, and it can help us understand PA better. Yes, but it doesn't get this one and this one because it obviously doesn't know. But now let's go on. Yes, this was just a light word thingy, Bob, for it to show us or test whether or not. No. Yes, this is now where this gets very interesting, because I asked it to make a timeline of the Sino-Tibetan languages, and it goes further. So this goes now to 4000 BC. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes, and now it continues on and on and on and develops into the distinct languages that we now know. The Tibetan, the Chinese, the Burmese, and so on and so forth. We get the Mandarin, Wu, Yu, Hakka, Min, Jiang, Gan. Okay, so very many different types of languages now. So this is, I'm just giving you the age, okay? So Albanian, according to what we saw up there, is among here. Okay? Make a timeline of all language families. Creating a timeline is very ambitious, but now it is trying. So 50,000 BCE, Proto-Human. Proto-Human. Well, we existed for far longer than that, and we did have a language even back then. Not a language as we do today, but a vocabulary. And then it becomes Afroasiatic, and then Proto-Dravidian, and then Proto-Indo-European, and then Proto-Sino-Tibetan, and then Proto-Austroasiatic, Proto-Niger-Congo, Proto-Uralic, Proto-Turkic, the Semitic languages, Proto-Austronesian, Elamite, Proto-Carthavilian, early Indo-European branches, spread of classical languages, diversification, colonial era spread, language documentation and standardization, and globalization. So now we got the whole thing up. Yes. We got the whole thing up here. So now what we're seeing is that the Semitic languages are apparently quite new. Like, they're very new. They're apparently newer than the Turkic languages and the Uralic. But this is now where this gets very interesting, because we know that it all traces back to this time. Here. Proto-Afroasiatic. Here. We need to go to 10,000 BCE and probably before that. We need to go back to the time during the flood. The solar flare, remember? Yeah. But now it's going to get a little bit more interesting. Because I ask it to, yes, just a second. Yes. Okay, it doesn't know yet. Where would you place Albanian according to your timeline? Excellent question. Albanian is a particularly interesting case within the European language family. It's an independent branch, meaning it doesn't descend from Latin, Greek, or Slavic, or any other Indo-European subgroup, though it shares the common ancestors with them. Right. Okay. Look at this now. Proto-European is spoken. Albanian, like Latin or Sanskrit, will descend from this language. Now, this puts it up here. Remember, up there is... that's pretty much... well, actually up here now. Right? It has to be up here now because it is closest to Proto-Indo-European, closer than all these other ones. Latin, Greek, Germanic, Slavic, Celtic. They have diverged and developed, but not Albanian. Albanian, Sanskrit, Germanic are actually the old ones, and the Celtic. Who did not develop until much later. Latin, Greek developed, even Sanskrit developed, and Slavic also developed, but not Germanic and not Celtic and not Albanian, not for a very long time. Albanian developed first, which gave rise to the other ones. But it can't really be called Albanian. This is why calling it Albanian is a bit erroneous, because it doesn't really reflect that it was Proto-Indo-European back then. It can't really be called Albanian now. Okay? So that is that. Okay, so it placed Albanian up there, okay? Up here. 4000 BCE. This is just ChatGPT without my findings. Okay? So it's putting it out there because it can't really put it here, because that means that we all came from the Albanian people, and that will cause a political uproar. You can see here as well. Okay. Okay, that was it. Yes, so that was it for this video. I was just going to show you a little bit of timeline and just further confirm for you so that you know that you can ask ChatGPT to do this without you even providing any knowledge that I have provided. So, but when I provided my knowledge and it becomes known, then this will change. Our knowledge will change. Yes. Furthermore, what else do I have to say? And I really want to, I need to thank you guys for following me and for watching my videos and joining me on this journey. It's really my greatest pleasure to share it with you, and I'm so happy that I have someone to share it with. I truly am. In terms of the spiritual videos, if I scare you or it becomes a bit too weird for you, I suggest that you cut my videos out and do not look at my channel anymore, because I will continue the spiritual videos as well. I didn't mean to scare you with the whole your heart will be measured and so on and so forth, because that's just the story of how ancient Egypt explained it back then. That's not something I'm professing. I'm not professing that your heart will be measured when you die. I'm saying that was the old belief during the Egyptian period. so that there can't be any confusion of where that came from or what those principles were. And the principles are that you can't hold on to anything, that life is occurring as we speak, and that you can't really uh, you can't get away from it. Well, yes, nobody can get away from truth. We can't escape it. But I will continue with them. And if you don't like them, I just would rather want you to not watch them, honestly. At this point, don't watch them. If I am saying something that doesn't resonate with you, drop it. Okay, drop it. The old stuff, or I mean, the old truth in terms of religion and what I'm stating is that that you are life. You are responsible for your whole life. The infinite star and the infinite black hole is man and woman. It's literally man and woman. It's you. You as man or woman. Depends on who you are, who is listening. But I didn't mean to scare you or to put mom and dad, or as if the stars or the star and the black hole is our mom and dad. But it is. Because it is the male and the female principle. So it is mom and dad. It's just not like you thought it is. And I don't want it to be weird. I don't want to wear you out. But this will be revealed by our language. Our language will keep telling us that woman is a big black hole, and that the father is a big, or man is an infinite star. Yeah. So this is not a hocus pocus. I will explain this further and further on. But I'm seeing that my spiritual videos are not being liked by you guys. So that if you don't like them, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to react to this anymore. This is my last video reacting to it. But I want to say that I don't care. If you don't like it, you don't need to listen to me. You don't need to pay attention to this audio. You go do you. Don't pay attention to me. But I will continue. And I will tell you everything that I can, that I know, or have realized till now. I want you to know. I don't want you to be afraid. Yeah. And I don't want to plant stuff in your head. No, I don't want you to believe in me. For God's sake, do not believe in me. Test everything that I say. Test. Be critical like crazy. I want you to be as critical as possible. Everything is a no until you have proven it. Until you have proven it that it is a yes. And that is how I ventured into this journey. Remember, for you guys who've been with me from the beginning, it began with a few simple words, and then it went on and on and on, and we managed to decipher them all. Well, not all yet, but we're heading that way. We're heading that way, and it is my greatest joy to share this with you. Okay. Yes. So that was it. That was it for now. There was another thing as well. It seems as though the religions might show us what words are the oldest. Yes, because now, well, I will explain that too. I will do that in another video. But our religions were crucial in our development. So the old Egyptian religions, which were not religions, but they became with time, they were crucial. The Greek era was crucial. The Abrahamic religions were crucial. The Buddhistic and the Hinduistic and the Vedic religions were crucial. All of them were essential for our development. And but they will show us what came first. Yes, because of their names. Their names. Yes, Zoroaster, Jainism, well, Egypt, Egypt, right? Okay. We're going to look at all of these, and we will discover together what they mean and what they meant to us once upon a time. So thank you for listening. It is my greatest honor and pleasure. I did post some, I published some AI videos that I just recently made. They're not the best, clearly. You can see that I'm not so good, but it is able to give you the core principle that I'm trying to convey. Yes, and it is also able to explain much more to us. But I will publish them little by little. But thank you for watching. The support you guys are giving means the world to me. It really does. And we will continue this rabbit hole until we get to the bottom of it, if it ever ends, and it will end. Yes, it will end. But thank you for joining me till now. Yes. So have a good day or evening wherever you are. Cheers.